Good evening, Adam, and Mike Kern here with the Missouri Valley Conference. Another time for a shoot around, and let's talk a little bit about the matchups that we had this week that were highly anticipated: Loyola, Bradley, Missouri State, Drake. But we'll start with the Ramblers and the Braves, and your analysis of that series this week.
Yeah, I mean, really just further separation in the standpoint or in the standings from the two teams you mentioned, Mike. And how about Loyola? Big 2 wins in Peoria. They have a tough schedule coming up too at Missouri State, which we'll get to here in a minute. But Loyola, it's funny, they bookended this matchup, right? Dominated the first half of the first game, dominated the second half of the second game. Man, this team just has a knack for locking up opponents and grinding out possession by possession when they need to. Average 17 turnovers forced for the Braves over the course of those two games versus only 9.5 assists. The other thing I love that I saw from the Ramblers is just the balance that they showed. So it was Krutwig and Ugwak doing it on the inside in the first game, 19 and 13 respectively from those two. The team struggled. Loyola struggled from three, only 3 of 14, but still were able to get it done. And then game 2, it was the guards on the outside, Kennedy and Clemens. Kennedy had one of his best games in a Rambler uniform with 18 and 9. Clemens had 15. So it just shows the balance of this group. I'm not saying they're as good as the team that went to the Final Four, but the hallmarks of suffocating defense, forcing errors by the opponents, forcing the offense to be in uncomfortable places at the wrong times, and just the offensive balance of efficiency. Man, Porter Mosier quietly, he's got this team really playing well.
Yeah, and the Braves playing a little shorthanded with Ari Boya out, the 7-footer, and Deshaun Henry, perhaps one of the best sixth man in the league. And they'll be there again if they're 2-time defending tournament champs.
Yeah, I mean, that Bradley team, Coach Brian Wardle, they always battle, they always fight. And I mentioned it on this medium before. Elijah Childs, that guy is very, very difficult to stop, especially in big games. And they have the pedigree in St. Louis. We're not done hearing from the Braves, but still big and impressive win for the Ramblers.
Okay, so let's talk about big and impressive wins. Drake hasn't played since January 4th. They go to Springfield. The Bears are 9-1. They're rolling right along. Of course, they've had a long layoff too. They played Missouri S&T in a game that they picked up last weekend as a replacement game, but they've been idle. But Drake, what a long layoff and an impressive series in Springfield, Missouri.
Yeah, it's funny, Mike. I wasn't sure what to expect, and you see this big, stupid smile on my face. My alma mater, man, the Drake Bulldogs. How about just the grit and the toughness? So this team, 3-week layoff, and when you are sidelined like that with COVID, you're not even practicing. So these guys aren't working out. They're not practicing quite the same way. The team's in a little bit of disarray. So I wasn't really sure what we would see. And in the first half of game 1, boy, the Bears looked almost unstoppable. Gage Prim and Isaiah Mosley were doing what they wanted, getting to their spots. They were up 15 at half. But man, the way that this Drake team is not going to quit. It really came out. The perseverance, that's the word I was looking for. The perseverance came out in the second half. They got a big game from their big man inside, Darnell Brody, 16 points, 15 rebounds. That's a man-sized effort. And, it turns out that guy, Roman Penn, who we've heard about the last couple of years, he's okay too. And the Bears in the game 2, the Bears fell behind at half and they fought back. They showed their same grit and toughness. I mentioned it with Bradley that we're going to hear more from them. I think same thing from Dana Ford's bunch. This is a really talented team. And outside of Prim and Mosley, they struggled. But listen, this Drake team played stifling defense at times. Definitely timely buckets down the stretch, and their fast break offense is as explosive as of anybody in the league. And I am super impressed after the layoff with this win. This team is for real, and they deserve all the accolades they're getting.
Yeah, and a couple of brief points on both Loyola and Drake. They're the two of the oldest teams in the league, so experience guiding the team through a COVID pause in both teams' instances. And Loyola gets another test at Missouri State. And by the time we talk next week, we'll be at the midway point of the conference schedule. So we're excited to continue to get games in.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting, right? You have both Missouri State and Drake. They're playing in the 14 games in 30 days, 35 days, whatever it is. Games are going to come fast and furious. Fingers crossed we minimize the disruptions, but it's the best time of year, Mike. It always gets exciting in February.
It always is. And then right after February is Arch Madness. Can't wait to talk more about the basketball the rest of the way, and looking forward to a successful week this weekend and the rest of the year.
Should be fun. Appreciate it, Mike. Talk soon.
All right. Thanks, Adam. We'll talk to you next week.